Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to the first broadcast of Wealthy Mindset. Of course, this is a platform where you will learn how to start and scale your six, seven, eight, and nine-figure brand. You will also learn from a number of experts that we have on our panel. And today we will be interfacing with Dr. Frank, who is a serial author. He is also an economist by profession and he has experience lecturing at some top universities in that field. Tonight, we also have Roland Hudson, and Roland Hudson, he's in the health and wellness field. And of course, he's going to be telling you with a lot of information as relates to alternative
And
and
of course, he's
health.
going to be
Along with this, we have Dr. Kwesi, and he is a medical doctor. And of course, you will be learning from vast knowledge and experience that we have here today as we do that deep dive into what it takes to truly nurture a wealthy state of mind. So, without further delay, I want to now and just pause a bit to welcome my team in today's program. Hey guys, how are you?
very good. Good to be on the
Awesome.
show. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having each and every one of you here. Now, what I want to do to get this program rolling, I want to focus on the concept of wealth. How exactly is wealth created? I want to first of all say that wealth is a state of mind, but I want to be very explicit as we do that deep dive into the concept. Now, as you think about wealth and wealth being a mindset, I want you to focus on a company. In the world today, we have Walmart, and Walmart is one of the largest supermarket we have in the world. They employ in excess of 2 million employees. But guess what? The way they think is completely different from how the average man thinks. All right. And I'm going to tell you why. They employ over 2 million persons. They have over 10,000 outlets in America and internationally. But along with this, guess what? They have over 10,000 trade lines. Now, I'm mentioning trade lines because it is a concept that is not commonly discussed in the world today. But because they're able to leverage trade lines, they are able to leverage a financial instrument in order to position themselves and to continue that wealth building process. And on this platform, we're going to be talking a lot about financial instruments. We're going to be talking a lot about business strategy. We're going to be talking a lot about a number of issues that is going to just push you in the right direction to not only know what it takes to have a wealthy state of mind, but also apply that state of mind. Now, what Walmart is able to do, they're able to stop their businesses, all right, over 10,000 units with no money out of pocket. Tell me that is not a wealthy state of mind. And the way they're able to do that is by leveraging trade line. Now, as we go deeper into today's program, I will further explain what is trade line. But I want to put two questions to you, and I want you to think about it because I'm going to demystify any abstract interpretation that you may have in relation to those two questions before the end of this program. Question one: can you start a business with no money out of pocket? That's one question. And the second question: can you buy real estate with no money out of pocket? So I want my audience to think about that. And as I go deeper into this program, perhaps you can share your answers and I will also show you practical steps to achieve both of those questions in a positive way. So I want to pause now and I want to reach out to Dr. Frank. And Dr. Frank, congratulations on your most recent accomplishment, and that's being a doctor. And it's great to have you here and to be talking with you on these matters. Can you share your thoughts on what it takes to nurture a healthy, wealthy state of mind? Dr. Frank, out to you.
Hear me?
I'm now hearing you.
All right. Well, a healthy state of mind. Um, it takes more than just finances. It takes more than just your ability. It takes, most of all, leadership. Before we get into explaining, I want to say good evening to everyone and thank you for being part of this important conversation. And so wherever you are joining us from, I'm grateful for your time, your presence, and your openness to it. And so today I want to speak to you basically on creating wealth, on creating wealth through catalyst leadership. And let me begin with this simple truth. When we talk about wealth, it does not begin with money. What we need to realize is that it begins with leadership. Yeah, money is a tool, resources are tools, opportunities are tools. But leadership, especially catalyst leadership, is what activates those tools. And the question, what is catalyst leadership? It is something that initiate change without being consumed by the process. So the catalyst leader sees opportunities where sees the ideas into income, convert problems into platforms for prosperity. So this is not about position. It is about a mindset, a movement, a multiplication. Now, why does leadership have why is a foundation for wealth? I, over the years, realized that many people work hard all their lives. And in working hard, they never build wealth. And they never build wealth not because they lack effort, but basically they lack the strength, leadership over their lives. But career leaders, they lead their thinking before they lead people. And all this here, Gary, I'm trying to answer your question. They lead their thinking before they lead people. They lead their time before they chase money. They lead their choices before they manage income. And so wealth creation is the byproduct of disciplined decisions that are repeated consistently. For this, I'm going to look at three pillars of wealth through catalyst leadership. And the first pillar is a vision that produces value. Catalyst leaders do not just dream, they design. So you ask yourself, one, What problem can I solve? What's the problem I have that I need to solve? What can I solve? How can I solve this problem? What value can I add? Do I build flows towards value? And the clearer your vision, the stronger your income potential. The second pillar is ownership over your influence. Every person on this call right now has influence. You got influence at work, you got influence in your church, you got influence in business, whether it's online or offline, or in your community. And the catalyst leaders, they monetize the expertise ethically. And I must stress ethically because of everything that goes on. They also package experience into products, into services, into training or solutions, and then they turn influence into impact and income. One does not need millions of followers. What you need is clarity, credibility, and consistency. The third pillar is multiplication, not just accumulation. You see, wealth is not what you earn, wealth is what you build, you sustain, and you multiply. And as catalyst leaders, you need to create systems, not just salaries. You need to build streams, not just savings. And then you need to invest in people, in partnerships, in platforms. Because true wealth outlives the individual. It creates legacy, not just lifestyle. We need to shift from survival to strategy. And we see it happen over and over again where many people live in a reactionary mode. They're paying the bills, they're putting out fires, they're waiting for the next opportunity. While a catalyst leadership shifts you into creation mode, how you plan ahead, you're thinking futuristic, you're positioning yourself, you're producing solutions. You see, wealth will favor the prepared, not those who are desperate. So, before I end this, I want to challenge you to reflect on three questions. And the first question is, what leadership skill must I strengthen to increase my income? What value can I start offering immediately with what I already know? And what system can I begin building instead of relying only on a paycheck? You know, small answers will lead to big breakthroughs. So let me leave you with this. You were not created to merely survive systems. You were created to build systems. You were not designed to chase wealth. You were designed to attract it. How? Through value. You were not meant to lead later. You are called to lead now. And so when catalyst leadership meets intentional action, wealth becomes inevitable. It's not accidental. Wealth becomes inevitable, not accidental. I trust that you have had your question answered to this. Thank you for choosing to be a
Yes, certainly. Thanks for sharing, Frank. And I trust that the audience had some nuggets to take away. We have over 90 persons that are here at the moment, and I want to just say a big shout out to those persons who are here. But Frank, I want to come alongside you to say a couple of things. Wealth is definitely a state of mind, and what we see happen in the traditional sense is that the majority of people do work to earn, they earn to spend, and because that is the focus, working to earn and earning to spend, they're kept on the paycheck to paycheck cycle. In our platform, what we talk about is how to change that mindset into what we call a wealthy state of mind. So even as an employee, you can position yourself to build wealth, but the mindset has to be right. For example, in this context, we talk about the rich employee state of mind and the poor employee state of mind. What I've just explained early on is what we call the poor employee state of mind. But now, what is the rich employee state of mind? In this context, you are working to earn, you're earning to save, you're saving to invest, and you're investing to build wealth. Now, depending on where you are in the world, what we have seen is that the average person know how to work to earn. They may even know how to earn to save, but there's a tremendous challenge depending on where you are in the world to know how to invest your hard-earned savings. So on this platform, we will be talking a lot about smart investment portfolios. For example, in the developed world, if we are talking about investment, we are talking about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, we are talking about hedge funds, we are talking about ETFs, we are talking about REIT, we're talking about independent portfolios of investment. So you have all of these options available to you. In developing economies, one may want to say, I don't have those options open to me. And I want to say that is not quite true because from developing economies, if you understand what is merchant banking and you're able to establish a merchant account, you can develop these investment portfolios and leverage your merchant's ability to do marketing to give you that support to invest in these portfolios. But as time progresses, we will go deeper into all of this. Now, I want to hear a little bit from Dr. Kwesi. Um, he's a man that wears many hats, but Dr. Kwesi, I must say it's a tremendous pleasure to have you on board today. What we have seen happen, Dr. Q, is that many persons, you commit the time, talent, and resources to develop the business. You commit your time, talent, and resources to build wealth. But very often they're building wealth, but they're not focusing on the health aspect of their lives. I would love to hear from you. What are some of the things that you would recommend um, for rising stars in business, and anyone who might be, attempting to build wealth? What are things that they can look at in health wise in terms of optimizing performance and so forth? Dr. Chrissy, all to you.
Thank you very much, Gary, for having me on this platform. I trust that you hear me clearly, loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. So, as you were speaking about investment, because most of us, um, we have the mindset, I guess, from schooling, from the education that we had, that we are studying or we're receiving education so that we can work, we can be an employee. And as an employee, we can work to earn, to save. And you spoke very well about the need for investment. So the changing from a
Yes.
employer employee mindset to an entrepreneurship mindset. And with that, we have to think about investments. And one of the key investments as an entrepreneur, as you're building wealth, is investment in your health. As an entrepreneur, that would mean that you have a little more flexibility in your time as you're building wealth. That mindset of um, going to a job from, let's say, 8 to 4:30, Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, and not having time afterwards to do anything because you're so stressed out with the work and the workload. I think that our educational system should shift towards helping persons to not only see themselves in that quadrant of employer employee, but having a shift to entrepreneurship where they can have more flexibility in their time and they can invest in their health. Investments every day can go a long way. Our bodies are like a machine. And if you think, for example, a car would need regular maintenance so that it could keep on going. We don't wait until the car breaks down then to try to fix the problem, but we ensure that every what 5,000 kilometers or so forth, there is servicing of the car. There's regular checks. We go to the mechanic for programming of the car, do its checks. And in the same way, we for our bodies, we should be investing in our health so as to maintain good health. And we're not waiting until there's a dis-ease, or what we call disease. So in some
Mm-hmm.
parts of the world, they call disease as dis-ease, making us uneasy in some way, uneasy mentally, some dis-ease mentally, some dis-ease physically, some dis-ease emotionally. Um, so as we make investments in our body and in our health, we're ensuring that we have ease um, in all arenas in our life, whether it's emotionally, intellectually, physically, socially, emotionally, mentally. And one of well, I'm going to just there's so much we can share, but I know that time is limited, and we will have other opportunities for ongoing discussions. But one of the things, of course, is stress. We live in a very stressful world. Um, there's good stress and there's bad stress. Stress can push us to have our creative juices flowing, but the bad stress can also have us make us have a dis-ease or we call disease. It can be mentally and it can have some symptoms in our physical realm. So it's very important how we manage stress, and we manage stress by getting enough rest. It's recommended that we get 6 to 8 hours of rest a day. I know if you're in the employer employee quadrant, you might say that's impossible because I work from 8 to 4 and then I come home. I have to deal with things pertaining to my family, and then I have to prepare for the next day. Um, that's virtually impossible. And that's why we have to have this mindset in which we move from employer employee to entrepreneurship mindset where we have more time for ourselves and we can invest in health and invest in rest. So adequate rest, and rest includes detoxification. Coming out of the Christmas season where we've been eating a lot of garlic pork and ginger beer and black cake and pepper pot and all the foods, we put a lot of toxins in our body. And one of the ways in which we can rest our body is ensuring that we do some amount of fasting, which is a process of detoxification through which the body eliminates a series of toxic substances accumulated in various parts of the body. And you can either do a total fast, in which you go without ingesting any solid or liquid food, including water. Water is a food group. And if you're doing a total fast, it's not recommended that you do it more than 3 days. because your body can go up to 3 days without water. Or you can do an absolute fast. That's just abstention from solid foods, but you're taking in liquid, the liquid food of water, and you can go for that type of fast up to 40 days. It's not recommended that you go more than 40 days if you're doing an absolute fast. Or you can do a partial fast where you just eliminate certain things from your diet. You can eliminate meat from your diet and substitute the meat, the protein with legumes, with protein powder that can make protein shakes and so forth in a partial fast. And so rest is very important. And in rest, you can also fast to detoxify your body. Rest is not only getting adequate sleep, but ensure that you have adequate water intake. Ensure that you rest your body from to allow some of the toxins that were built up probably around the Christmas season when you ate lots of food and you overloaded your body. You rest, and some of your organs for some time. And that's one of the way in which we can have a wealthy mindset, in which we invest in our health and invest through supplementation. We don't get all our nutrients and minerals from the foods we eat. I sure we don't have 5 to 7 servings of fruits a day. Um, I'm sure we don't have a balanced diet um, in all our meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When we say the balanced diet, it means that your plate must be close to a rainbow of colors, because colors tell us the nutrients that we're getting from our foods. For example, orange tells us that we're getting vitamin A, some amount of vitamin C, vitamin E, um, and green tells us one thing. It tells us if we're getting enough vitamins and minerals, phytonutrients to promote cellular health. The red, when you think about red, you think about blood in your heart. So red from your cherries, from your strawberries, from your tomatoes, that helps with heart health. All the phytonutrients, the vitamins, minerals to promote heart health. And because we're not getting a balanced diet from our breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we eat belly full. So we have a large plate of rice with some stew, or we have a nice roti, a loud roti, a lot of carbs, with some, curry or some pumpkin. The roti is what? What color is it? Kind of white. The pumpkin, it's what? Orange. But where's the red there? Where's the green? To make the plate colorful. And so, because we're not getting all the vitamins and nutrients from the foods we eat, it's recommended that we supplement. I know that there's a debate in the medical arena. They said that you should only supplement when there's a deficiency. So, for example, pregnant women, um, because the fetus is feeding from them, they can have deficiency in iron, deficiency, and the blood count can go very low. So they should use supplementation with iron and folic acid. But I always challenge my colleagues in the medical arena that why do we wait until a deficiency or a dis-ease for us to supplement? Supplementation should be part of wealth building as we invest in our health. So I'm just going to leave those nuggets there: the adequate rest, sleep, and include fasting to detoxify the body, and the need for supplementation as a long term. I know persons, think about cost and so forth when they're doing their meal planning and when they're thinking about supplements they should use. But the wealthy mindset would mean that you have to have a healthy body to maintain that mindset of wealth. And that would mean in our investment, we should invest in our health daily. So I'll leave it there, Gary. I know I made a mouthful, but I'll leave it for my colleague Roland to make some comments as well. And
Yeah.
I look forward to another session where we can continue the discussion.
Yeah, we can go deeper into that. But that was definitely a lot to digest. And what I've taken away is that, focusing on your health is definitely focusing on your wealth, because your health is definitely your greatest asset. So thanks for that share. I'm going to come to Brother Roland shortly, but I just want to make a few announcements. This program comes to you with the kind compliments of Global Capital Inc., Pitch Deck 101 LLC, and 10X B&M LLC out of New York. Now, we're not only talking about wealth, and we're just talking in the theory. What Pitch Deck and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York do, we help rising stars in business to access capital throughout 50 states in the United States. So if you're listening to this program and you need access to capital to start your wealth building journey, I want to encourage you to feel free to reach out to me. I'll be so happy to put you in contact with our community and to help you to access capital. So whether you're looking for capital to start your business or you're looking for capital to invest in real estate, and feel free to reach out, and I'll be happy to give you that support to access your much needed capital. The beauty in working with us is that you're able to access capital at 0% APR, and it may be 0% APR for from 6 months to 21 months. So that is tremendous capital leverage. Now, I want to share a few things before I come to Brother Roland. Now, it is essential that as you take practical step to nurture what I'm calling a wealthy state of mind, to commit some time to understand capital markets. It is important because as a rising star in business, I find that very often people struggle to access capital. Now, when one commits the time to understand capital markets, you're not just understanding or committing time to understand capital market portfolios, which is debt, equity, credit, creative financing, group economics, and the like. You need to understand these portfolios because it is in understanding financial instruments you're able to make better, smarter financial decisions. So, one is to understand, two is to access, three is to leverage, and four is to mitigate. And on this platform, over a period of time, we will go deep into this body of knowledge so as to ensure that you understand it and you can apply it and you're getting the results that you need to position yourself to build wealth. On this platform, we will literally be teaching you what the wealthy people do to position themselves to build wealth and how you can do it too. All right. So I'm going to pause here for now. I haven't forgot the question that I asked, and I will come back to give you an answer on those two questions. But let me acknowledge Brother Joel. Joel is in the field of technology, and of course, he will be talking a lot of how to adopt technology to your business and how to adopt technology to your life in order to fast track your business development process that can also lead to fast tracking the potential of that business to cash flow optimize. There's so much that is changing in the technology world that if you're not keeping abreast of relevant technological development and adopting those relevant technology to your organization, you will be left in the stone age. So Brother Joel, he will talk to us shortly about that. But just before I come to Brother Joel and come back to Brother Frank, Dr. Frank, I want to ask Roland to perhaps expand a little bit on what is his take on a healthy mindset being a wealthy mindset. And coming out of the holiday, what are some recommendations that you will make you want to make to the general public? Roland, are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
was
seeing you at all. I'm just seeing the top of your head. I'm not seeing you. Where are you?
okay, somewhere in the radar, but anyway, yes. Right. Right. Yeah. I think we got a mouthful from Dr. Quasi when he mentioned things like Gary Pook. He touched a very tender area there for me. But anyway, that was fun. Yes, during the holidays, we tend to abuse ourselves with all kind of things, garlic pork included, pepper pot, the likes, ginger beer. So, and for some strange reason, people tend to go into gorging mode, whereby they just eat and eat and eat, and then the start of the year, they're looking to get all the junk out of the system. But it's not just food alone that we're concerned with. We're also concerned with environmental toxins that is around us. Even the very things that we put on our skin, thinking that it's healthy and it's good, but those things tend to absorb into our skin. Like anything, our skin is basically it's like a sponge, and we can open ourselves to these what we call hormone altering creams and lotions and whatever we put on our bodies. Um, but Dr. Quasi mentioned also the having a colorful plate, which is difficult in these days to achieve because of our lifestyle. Um, that's why that is one of the reasons why we recommend, especially just coming off of the holiday abuse. We recommend that we do the juice fast because with the juice fast we have a combination of different vegetables and small amount of fruits added to the cleanse, which helps to replace as you cleanse, especially when you're trying to remove harmful toxins. Toxin basically are poisons, metals, whatever that is not supposed to be there. Um, so the juicing itself helps to replace as against other mechanisms that you may want to use to do a detox. Some people will tend to go with just plain water, which can be dangerous because that tends to release toxins fast into your system. Um, so the juicing, the healthy juice with vitamin helps to replace and replenish what is being taken out in the cleanse. Um, During this period, we don't recommend that you eat any cooked foods, and the reason is simple: that we don't want to be putting back the same stuff that you're trying to get rid of in the first place. So the supplementation is important in after the cleansing because you want to replace especially key trace minerals, magnesium being one of them, which to some large extent is depleted. Um, we want to also to ensure that the cleanse benefits you. You can tell after doing a cleanse, either for 3 days, 5 days, or 10 days or beyond. Um, the the rejuvenation that you experience in terms of your energy level just goes up exponentially. There's a clear mind, there's a clear body, there's a glow to your skin. Even your eyes and all tells the difference what you've been doing, what you've been exposing yourself to in terms of a cleanse. So longer the cleanse goes on, the benefits are much greater. But as the doctor rightly say, you should be guided by your doctor, especially if you have a degenerative condition and you want to make sure that you don't overdo the cleanse. So you should be monitored expertly by your medical doctor or your healthcare provider. Um, so during the cleanse itself, um, the protocol is to cleanse, control, and then construct to build back what the body has been abused with in terms of environmental pollutions or whatever things that you yourself can't control. Those things that you can control, especially to your diet and your lifestyle, um, try to maximize those as much as possible. Um, so that's where the emphasis is. You want to take control of your what goes into your body and what you surround yourself with. Sometimes you will have the misses, but that's okay. But you don't stay too long off the track. You try to get back on board as quickly as possible. So that's basically my take on the whole thing. And wish you guys a wonderful year in the startup of our cleansing and control, and then let's move on to big and better things.
All right, thanks for that share, Roland. I want to table two questions to the to Dr. Quasi and also Roland. Um, Research is showing that the majority of the people today, they are functioning in a down-regulated state. And what the research is showing is that based on their dietary intake are some of the contributory factor for them functioning in that down-regulated state. Now, taking that into consideration, it means that as an employer, if you are not focusing on some of the issues that you're talking about, it's very likely that the HR within your organization, they're not functioning at their best. And if they're not functioning at their best, that is something that's going to affect productivity. And anything that is affecting productivity will also affect the organization ability to cash flow optimize. Um, would you guys agree that the majority of people are functioning at a down-regulated state because of their dietary intake? And do you think that the recommendations that you have just tabled will set the stage to optimize performance because they're now focusing on the rainbow of food on the plate? What are your take on this? Dr. Kwesi, I want to start with you first.
Yes. When you were talking, I just remember the number of sick leave or medical certificates that you get from employees
Yeah.
during the course of the year. So yes, your statement has some amount of truth or veracity, and you linked it to the diet. And I think that the diet in Guyana, in our Guyanese context, is also linked to economics. We eat whatever is in season, and and most times we eat belly full, to put it in a local vernacular, than we have a rainbow or a balanced diet. And we think that once our stomachs are satisfied, we are good to go. We don't think about the nutrients that we're putting into our body, and that's linked to economics. And even as we're thinking about our dietary intake, and our we're not growing our own foods, so we're not conscious of what we're putting in our bodies, because um, for the minerals we get from the soil. And so the minerals that are in our vegetables and in our fruits, they come from the soil. The plant does not manufacture minerals. And so whatever fertilizers being used by those who are farming and then selling their products would impact what minerals go into the fruits and the vegetables we eat, and the type of farming the person does, if it's organic farming or inorganic farming, the use of fertilizers that is becoming rampant, the use of ripeners to ripen the fruits and vegetables, and all those things are toxins that we put in our body. And so as we think about dietary intake, we're thinking about one, the economics of it. um, we eat whatever's in season, we eat for to satisfy our stomachs, and we don't think about our nutrients. And then even when we try to eat healthy, are we getting the minerals we should, because we're buying from persons who are producing for us, and we're not sure of the credibility of their process of producing, if they're making shortcuts using fertilizers and ripeners, and then we're putting more toxin in our body, and we're moving towards the American style of eating a lot of apples. Apples are grown, some imported, and once they're imported, that means they have to put some amount of preservatives to preserve them, uh, um, so that they, to ensure that their shelf life, when they meet to their destination, they're not, in perishable form, and all of that are toxins we're putting in our body. So these are some considerations we have to think about doing our own farming, growing our own foods, and going to organic farming, ensuring we know what we're putting in our soil. And once we know what we're putting in our soil to grow our bora and greens and so forth, our cash crops, we know what um, minerals we're putting in the soil and what minerals will go into the plants or the crops that we're growing, because the plants do not, as and I want to emphasize, do not manufacture the minerals. They come from the soil. And then if we're doing our own farming, we would ensure that we're not using any fertilizers or ripeners that will put more toxins in our system, pesticides and herbicides and so forth, that will put toxins in our system. So these are some considerations, and that's why I always that's why the need to supplement and use not synthetic supplements but organic supplements. And if anyone is interested, I can coach them one on one and guidance on the supplements that they should use, because of our modern lifestyle that we're having. And then we're moving towards fast foods. Persons, um, because as I said, we're in this employee mindset. We're short in time, and so we don't have the time always to cook foods to take to work or cook food for our children. And we encourage them to head to the canteen. We encourage them to head to the fast food, and that's more toxins, more aerated drinks, more sodas, more fried foods, French fries and fried chicken and so forth. Everything is a fast-paced world, and so all of that to consider in our dietary intake that's leading to the downtime on our job that's being manifested in the number of medical certificates or sick leave that we see from employees during the year.
All right, thanks for that share, Dr. Kwesi. We have over 175 persons who are with us this evening across three platforms. We are currently broadcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And I want to thank everyone who's here this evening, and I trust that you're getting benefits from the information that is being shared here with you. And Dr. Kwesi, as you talk, I can distinctly reflect on some of the things that we would talk about from time to time in the community, especially talking with Roland also. Uh, I do believe a lot of work has to be done in raising the general public awareness of health issues. I think the foundation has to be laid to help people to become more health conscious. I'm saying this against the backdrop that when we're seeing 12 years old with um, sugar and high cholesterol, and the doctor can say that they don't know exactly how to treat that matter, it tells you that we are perhaps at an epidemic stage. Some of the things that we talk about, though, Roland, and I would love for you to shine some light on this, is in order to nurture what we call a healthy, wealthy state of mind, it's important not only to eat based on the terms that Dr. Kwesi pointed out. People eat for belly full, but Roland, we talk a lot about blood type, and you should know your blood type because it is by knowing your blood type you're better able to identify your food groups. And the ability to identify the food group means that you can become a more conscious consumer of goods that is more complementary to your health. Can you shine some light on how important looking at or knowing your food group and eating in alignment with your food group can add to better performance, longevity, a better healthy lifestyle?
Yes, listening to Dr. Kwesi talking about the long-term health, sick leave, and people can't do every year. It is shocking to know that there has been a seismic shift in the way we eat and live, not just in the wider world, but even to our own country. Our landscape now is being littered by fast food establishments. I don't have a problem personally with business, but um, we need to get back to the old-fashioned way of eating and living. Just recently, um, the guy who was in charge, Mr. Kennedy, did a complete reversal of the food chart. It's completely redone because they are looking at the American food chart is what we refer to as the SAD diet, the standard American diet, which basically is a disease diet or a disease diet. Um, but getting back to our own environment that we operate in, um, especially from my experience that I've been doing for about 20 odd years, especially with this particular testing that we do, we see a lot of cases of mineral deficiency, and this has led to some degenerative conditions that is also exploding on the local scene also. Um, Things like diabetes and hypertension. We've seen a lot of what we call insulin resistance also. Um, so we try to focus a lot on, especially when we come across these cases, we try to focus a lot on blood type. Um, People with what we refer to as particular exposure to certain foods that can cause problems and certain foods that are beneficial for us, um, especially dealing with persons who may have diabetes or hypertension or even cancer. Um, Knowing your blood type plays a pivotal role in retaking your health. And in Guyana, what we've also found that people wait until they crash and burn and then they're looking for solutions to fix their problems. There have been a few particular cases with people with particular blood group, like for example, like type O, um, gorging themselves on dairy products and bread and stuff like that, and then they develop problems with insulin resistance, um, excessive inflammation in the body, leading to arthritis prematurely. Um, Change their diet, and we see a complete reversal of these symptoms or symptomologies that they were experiencing, and the transformation is beyond words sometimes when you see that this person when they came into you first and then when you see them back after a while after they change their diets, concentrate more on foods that are beneficial to their blood group, we see a complete reversal of a lot of the symptomologies that Dr. Christie talked about, what we call dis-ease in the body, bring the body back into what we call a proper balance in terms of um, what we call these giveaways that we can sometimes we get these symptoms that we tend to ignore that the body is telling us. Our body speaks to us, but for some strange reason we tend to not to listen until it's too late, or it's reached a point whereby it's difficult to retrieve. Um, so knowing your blood type, um, knowing what's good for your particular blood group can invite can to a large extent help you to avoid some of the disasters that can come with going down the wrong path. And it's important to know what your blood group is and what you can concentrate on in terms of what is good for you and what you need to stay away from, and maximize the good stuff and then minimize the bad stuff. Because you would sometimes indulge in the stuff that is may not be good for you, but knowing that it's not good for you you tend not to overindulge, and that's what we try to focus on.
All right, thanks for that share, Roland. And I really, really trust that the public is listening in because to optimize human performance, to ensure that we are putting the human species in the position of strength to have full use of their prefrontal cortex, their intellectual, their executive motor skills, and focusing on these health issues is important. Now, Roland and Dr. Kwesi, they will be working very closely. And as I said, this platform is not just to focus on a theory, it's not just to highlight the problem, but both parties here, they have the expertise to provide recommendations and support to persons. So, in your organization, if you're looking to optimize human performance is not optimized only by focusing on the academic content. All right, to optimize human performance in the organization to increase profitability, we have to view things from a broader spectrum, and health is also on that spectrum. So as time progresses, I'm certain that Dr. Kwesi and Roland, they will go deeper into examples that will ensure that you're adopting a healthier lifestyle. Now, I want to talk a little bit with Brother Warner, but I see that he's having some technical difficulty with his platform. So, what I'm going to do while he sorts himself out, I'm going to answer the first questions that has to do with Walmart, and then we're going to have some open conversation on all the issues that we have talked about. Now, this platform, Wealthy Mindset, we will be talking about business, we will be talking about wealth, we will be talking about leadership, and we also will be looking at health related issues because we believe that all of these important subject matter they work hand in hand and with each other. So let me share some information. Walmart is one of the largest supermarkets that we have in the world, and Walmart has about 10,000 outlets. One of the things that Walmart do, they leverage a concept that we call net 30, net 60, net 90. Now, the possibility exists that they're able to also extend net 30, 60, and 90 to a longer period of time. Now, what net 30, 60, and 90 really is, it is access to a financial instrument. Now, the average person in the United States of America, they can call into different businesses like Granger, like Targets, and some of those institutions, and within 20 minutes they get access to what we call these net 30 lines of credit. What these net 30, 60, and 90 lines of credit enables you to do is to get access to capital. Now, with access to the net 30, 60, and 90, you can leverage that to build wealth. Now, let's take, for example, you have or you want to start a supermarket, but then you don't have the capital to do so. With a net 30, 60, and 90, you're able to call manufacturers of products that you want to stock your store with, and they're able to give you up to 90 days a line of credit. And with that line of credit, you can stock your store out with no money down. And you can start your business process and from there. Now, this is what happens in the developed world. And I believe that it is an interesting business model and to perhaps be repeated across the world. But I want to bring that back to the Caribbean. I want to bring this back to also Guyana, because Guyana is now one of the fastest growing countries in the world. But very often, the small man feels as though he is not getting a fair shot to participate in economic growth and economic activities because of limited access to capital. And here is where these financial instruments can play a pivotal role in creating the opportunity to create that platform for access. But for that to happen, there are several things that needs to work together. We need to have proper legislation that speaks to what I'm calling a mixed financial market. We need to have the bureau working with legislation. We need to have financial institutions working with legislation and the credit bureau. We need to have private sector working together along with consumers. And I believe that once these arms of entities can come together, with the will to create change in terms of the financial market, it can significantly set the stage that opens door for more Guyanese, for more Caribbean people to feel as though they have a fair shot at the wealth building process. Now, I know that that sounds a little problematic, but on this platform, as I said, we don't look at the problem unless there is a solution. So, one of the solutions that I want to table is group economics. But just before I expand on group economics, I want to say that the answer to the question is yes, you can start a business with no money down, but you need the right financial infrastructures in place for that to happen. So, net 36 and 90 is only one financial instrument. You can also leverage credit facilities to do so. As time progresses, we will take our time and we will do a deep dive into all of those concepts. Today, this evening is just to give you a high level overview of some of the things that we will be talking about. Now, in a rapidly developing economy where access to capital seems to be challenging, one has to be creative. And in the creative financial world, the sky is the limit. Again, on this platform, we will do a lot of deep dive into what is group economics, what is creative economies. Why? Because we want a table solution to people. One of the things about group economics is that you're able to build healthy, productive partnership, healthy, productive relationships with similar minds. And you're now able to leverage that relationship. You're now able to leverage that network as a pathway to build wealth. Those are things that we will expand on as time progresses. But I can see that we now have Minister Warner that is back with us. So I'm going to give him a chance to talk with us a little bit about what he's doing in technology and how he can impact the business community with his platform. Jewel, are you ready? All right, I see Jewel is out again. All right. So let me do what I want to again just repeat. This program is sponsored by Global Capital Inc. 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of US and Pitch Deck 101 LLC. What we do from the US standpoint is if you need access to capital, we're able to put you in contact with our partners to help you get access to capital to start and to scale your business. So whether you're looking for debt, whether you're looking for credit, whether you're looking for creative financing or hard money lending, we are able to put you in contact with those persons to access capital. Now, part of what we do at Global Capital Inc., we also do private equity investment. So, of course, when we come in, we're not only looking at the access to capital issue, we're going to help you to understand the market because access to capital is not the beginning and the end of your business. It's not the only determining factor of the success of your business. What we are seeing is that we have many rising stars gets into business and you think that access to capital is the beginning and the end. But when we test you in terms of how well you understand your market, how well you understand the ideal client, how well you understand the market size, how well you understand the market viability, we see that there's some weaknesses there. So on this platform again, we will be sharing information to really help you to start business the right way and to use the right approach to scale your business to make impact. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open up the floor now for us to have some open conversations on some of the important issues that persons may want to share. I want to come back to Frank. I We talk a number of issues here today, but Frank, I want to throw this at you now. Leadership is so important, and to position yourself to build wealth. And leadership commitment, holding yourself accountable, is also important to nurturing a healthy lifestyle. I want you to go a little bit deeper into what leadership is, Frank, because what I find happens sometimes is that people know what they want. People want to live a healthier, quality of life. People want to position themselves to build wealth. But what I see is that many persons struggle with what I call a leadership deficit. How do you think leadership may be able to help people to be more proactive and not just focusing on the problems, but being able to identify the solution and become more aggressive in going after the solution to accomplish their goal? How do you see leadership being the answer to the challenges that most people are faced with? Frank, you admit, Frank,
Are you hearing me now?
loud and clear.
You raise a very good question, but a leader, a catalyst leader specifically, initiates change. With that leader challenges the status quo and moves people forward. But to do this sustainably, your mindset must be healthy. So without a healthy mindset, leadership becomes exhausting, reactive, and eventually destructive. Now, here's how a catalyst leader will build and protect a healthy mindset. And the first thing is that you need to lead yourself before you lead others. Because healthy leadership always begins inward. A catalyst leader then takes responsibility for their thoughts, their thinking, takes responsibility for their emotions and the reactions. And so they need to practice um, self awareness instead of self denial. They need to know when to push forward and when to pause. And a key discipline here is a daily reflection where you ask yourself, what am I thinking consistently? Or what emotions are driving my decisions today? Am I responding or reacting? So self discipline is the foundation of mental clarity.
Yeah, Frank, I'm not cutting you, right? But I love everything that you're saying. But Frank, what I find happens very often is that the average person don't have a clear interpretation as to what exactly is leadership in order to adopt the concepts that is being shared and to apply the concepts that is being shared in order to achieve the predictable outcome that they're looking for. Can you also tell us a little bit about the platforms that you've created? I know you have the book. I know you also do lectures. So the public out there who might be struggling with leadership. And what is leadership? In my context, leadership is the ability to think ahead. Leadership is the ability to see beyond problems. And leadership is the ability to take informed action to achieve the desired results. They may not have the skill sets to be able to apply everything that you're talking about. Can you help us to understand a little bit about the book, a little bit about the communities that you're forming that can provide the mentorship, the coaching, the support to really get people to move from procrastination into the application aspect of leadership? Frank, to you.
Very good books on leadership. The specific books I have written is how how to be an influential leader, and that's on the aspect of thought leadership. And then there's the business song business leadership for the 21st century. Now these books basically explain in depth.
All right. It seems that we're losing Frank there. I want to say this to the public. Frank is one of those persons that I know is committed to helping people to transform their lives through leadership. So, what Frank has done, he has written a number of books that are designed to really help people to get an intimate understanding of what leadership is. But above the intimate understanding of what leadership is, one of his focus is to also bring them to that point where they're able to apply the concept because knowledge is power, but the application of knowledge is where you get a superpower. On this platform, one of our key focus is not just to ensure you get the knowledge, but it's to ensure you can come to the point where you can, get your wings, you can flap your wings, and you can begin to fly by applying the concepts that we're going to be sharing with you. So I'm certain that Frank will be able to expand on that. But on this platform, you will have communities. So I want to encourage you to reach out to us. There will be specific communities that are going to be established, and those communities are being established with a key focus. So when it comes to talking and teaching about wealth, you will be exposed to a mentor, into a coach, to a sponsor, and you will be part of a supportive community that is going to be there to give you the strategic intervention and the strategic support to realize your objective. As I said early on, Dr. Kwesi and Roland, they will have a community that is focusing on health. All right, so outside of this platform where we are raising awareness, you're going to be part of a community. If you need the one on one mentorship, the one on one coaching, if you want that type of community support that will help you to adopt or to, first of all, know what is a healthy lifestyle adopt and apply a healthy lifestyle, Dr. QC and Roland would be the ideal persons for you to connect with. So I want to open up the floor a little bit for other views on some of the issues that we discussed today, and we're going to start to wrap up shortly. Brother Roland, is there anything that you want to share based on what we have discussed so far?
Uh, yeah, just reflecting back on some of the information that we talked about earlier with respect to health. The funny thing about it that a lot of our foods, or what we call calories. Calories basically is the foods that the energy that we get from foods to help our bodies. And teenagers are obtaining 68% of their calories from um, what we call fast foods that are prepared outside of the kitchen or outside of the home. Um, Hence the reason for obesity that we are seeing a lot now in younger people. And we are also seeing a lot of issues with insulin resistance. And this has a lot to do with the consumption of basically dead foods that they are consuming, that the food has little or no energy in it. All it does is basically satisfy belly full, as Dr. Q put it over nicely. To fill the belly and you make you look, make you feel satisfied. But then the hunger crash, you crash again, and then you have to get back the same food to keep keep you up to the level that you want. So the sustainability of these empty calories that people are taking in is where a lot of our problem lies. And this is something that I keep going over all the time in my dissemination of information to people. We need to get back to the old-fashioned way of eating and living. And the sooner that we can get it done, we will see a sharp decline in non-communicable diseases and people having a better quality of life, mentally as well as physically.
Okay. Um, all right. We have Frank, that is back. Frank, I want to give you a chance to complete your trend of thoughts, and then I'm going to return back to Minister Warner to share on technology, and then we're going to start to wrap up. Frank?
So I hope you're hearing me this time. I don't know why it was knocked out. And
Not good.
the question that you asked, I want to begin with just a simple but powerful truth. And folks to understand that leadership is not about a position, it's about impact. So you may not hold a title, you may not manage a department, you may not even see yourself as a leader. But if if those decisions that you make influence others, if your attitude affects outcomes, if your actions shape futures, then you are already leading. The kind of leader doesn't wait for change, but initiates it, accelerates it, and sustains it. When I'm talking about catalyst leadership, I wanted to have a conceptual foundation. For those who are scientists in chemistry, a catalyst is something that's powerful because it initiates change, it accelerates reaction, and is not consumed in the process. In leadership, the catalyst leader sparks transformation, elevates people and systems, and then it leaves the environment stronger than it was found. So it's not about allowed leadership, it is intentional leadership where it asks, what problem am I solving? Who am I empowering? And what legacy am I thinking? Am I building? We're living in a time of rapid economic change. There are organizational stress, there's mental and emotional fatigue. And there's leadership gaps at every level of society. So the traditional leadership models are no longer enough. So today we need leaders who are emotionally intelligent, who are ethically grounded, who are strategically adaptive and people centered. Catalyst leaders do not manage decline. They design renewal. They don't blame systems, they rebuild them. Hope I've answered that for you there.
It's certainly, certainly, I do believe that leadership is so important. And what I find happen a lot, Frank, is that, you know, I love what we're doing here, but what I've also recognized is that to really optimize human performance, we must create an environment that provides the mentorship, the coaching, the sponsorship, and the extra support to really get people truly to that state of transformation. And of course, we will be talking more about our community because in our community, we provide that mentorship, we provide that coaching, we provide that sponsorship. And of course, it is a supportive community that wants you to win in business, that wants you to win in wealth, that wants you to win in health, and also to win in leadership. Minister Warner, are you back with us? Great to have you, my friend.
Yes, Gary,
Um,
thank you. Can you hear me and
awesome.
see me well?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Yes.
I want to give you a chance to share with us on technology. The world today is transforming because of technology. And if you're not keeping abreast of the development that is taking place in technology, you can quickly become obsolete. So, can you talk to us a little bit about technology and how you see technology helping to advance business development? All right. All to you, Minister Warner.
All right. Thank you very much, Gary. Definitely, as we look more at what is happening around us, it's evident that if you're not connected, and we'll talk about what that means, but if you're not connected, then you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on changes. You're going to miss out on the opportunity to have a transformed business or to have access to the kind of people or the resources. I once said that the market has not died, it's just changed locations. And a lot of times, persons, you know, even though you may have an idea, you're probably looking at where can I find my target market or that strategic group of people who are, you know, basically who will need to buy your products and services, right? And sometimes we look at what is happening and we ask ourselves if we are missing the mark when it comes to our products or services, and if we are truly tapping into the right thing to do or the right, service or stuff like that. But what a lot of times we miss is the change in the environment. There are many factors that influence how successful a business would be. And to understand those factors, you have to first look at what is happening around. You have to assess what is happening with your business. What are the challenges that I'm facing within this business? A lot of times, persons focus on the things that affect the factors that affect their business directly, whether it be sales, the market, or the design of their product, or the look and feel and the experience behind that. And while all of those things are good, one thing you cannot shy away from is the change, the rapid change that is taking place, and how it affects your marketplace. Your money is probably not walking through the door. Your money is probably not walking down the road. Your money is somewhere online, sitting in a couch, swiping on their phone. Your market exists in a different dimension. and your business has to adapt to be able to lock on to that market, or you can fall short. What we found is that the companies that have sought innovation in their business model, and even innovated their value propositions, found that in order to be successful with all the different metrics that they may have tried, in order to really be successful, you have to lock on what it means to adapt in an ever-changing economy and environment. Those who would have done that successfully found that even if they haven't started with the best product or service, the get to market speed that they would have achieved would have caused them to win. All right. And then you have the concept of being able to, uh, let's say, experiment with different systems and different, services and businesses and so on. Once you're tapped into technology or into innovation, the ability to experiment becomes a beautiful experience because you know quickly, right? You get to know quickly what works and what doesn't work. So when you get that product and service out there and you get the market to respond in real time, where you're able to capture that data, that analytics, you're able to make informed decisions now based on these things. The environment that we're living in causes us to think sometimes, are we relevant as it relates to our business? And it's not that your business is going out of relevance, is that you probably haven't tapped into the market the way you ought to or the way you should, because there are people that exist right now who are hungry, desperate, and waiting for what you have to provide or the service that you currently have. There are people waiting for Dr. Kwesi. There are people waiting for Roland. I would say there are too many people waiting for these guys, right? But being able to reach these persons require us to position ourselves where they can see us, they can experience us. And right now they're overwhelmed by a lot of views on, or a lot of TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and they're not finding you. So being able to place ourselves into these environments can also help us to reach the people that really need us. And then we look further at how we design and how we structure our systems around these things. The speed at which we do it is also critical. You would find that things are changing so fast. I'm into AI development, and what we found is that there's no longer a half year or waiting until a CES show, consumer electronics and stuff. There's no longer waiting until these things actually have a conference. It's almost daily that you'll find a new innovation or something, is launched or updated. It's because there is a race right now. Beyond a race for your attention, there is a race to lock on the market cap of what this means, the market capitalization of what this new frontier means. So now it's become mainstream to all of us. And the question is, will your business suffer because of these emerging innovations, or will your business thrive on the adoption of these innovations? It's a key question that a lot of business owners or entrepreneurs would have to ask themselves right now. And Gary, quite frankly, a lot of people are, as you say, smelling the roses or waking up and smelling the coffee, because the person who can get to market faster with their ideas, with innovation behind it, wins. Wins. All right. So,
All right. All right. Thanks for that share, Minister Warner. And I love that you touched based on elements of communication technology. I do believe in that space a lot has changed. Um, in starting a business, you want visibility, you want reach, you want impact, you want client conversion, you want cash flow optimization, you want to achieve confidence, trust, and credibility. You want to come to that point where you have the influence and you have the golden touch. But to achieve all of that, the traditional way, there are some challenges in that regard. And you're right. I think traditionally, when you're attempting to enhance the visibility, reach, and impact of your brand, you use mass media, which is radio, television, and newspaper. Today, I'm interfacing with rising stars in business across the world, and they can quickly identify some of the weaknesses in the traditional communication platforms. And the reason being is that what we have seen is that they don't have the matrix to measure who you're reaching, where you're reaching, and the possible impact with the new emerging communication and technology. And you have the metaverse, you have uh, social media. They're able to give you the measurability. So you're able to identify who is watching you, where they're watching from, male, female, age. And based on the fact that you're able to collect those data, you're able to make more strategic business and marketing decision to optimize the growth of your business. And Minister Warner, I know that this part of what you're focusing on, and what I'm happy about is that as we begin to set the stage to bring rising stars and stars in business into our community, I'm certain that we have the knowledge base, we have the knowledge pool that will help those businesses to make a better, smarter, wiser decision in terms of scaling their businesses. So I want to thank you for that share. And I want to now open up to Dr. Chrissy. Any other thoughts you want to share before we start to wrap up tonight's program?
Yes, just one thing. Forgive me for wearing a track suit on your program. I'm not wearing a
You're
turtleneck.
quite okay. You're quite okay.
Jacket and
It's
I
after
can.
hours at your home, so it's quite okay.
What I was about to say is that I'm wearing the tracksuit to remind persons the need to exercise. Um,
Awesome.
I've been on this platform for over an hour, and I had to do some stretches, so that to get the body moving, because being seated for over an hour is not good for the body. And so having a healthy and wealthy mindset is about moving the body and stretching the body. And so I would just want to leave that nugget, as we're closing, the importance of exercise and movement. And even when we're at our workplaces, we shouldn't be seated for long periods of time. We should stretch, get up, move. Um, Especially for work requires that we sit at a desk, kind of sedentary lifestyle. So that's what I want to leave with you as we wrap up.
All right, thanks for that share, Dr. Q. Roland, your
Yeah.
last words as we begin to wrap up.
Right. I'm not going to let Dr. Chrissy off the hook quite easily with that tracksuit excuse, but he did highlight the good point of moving, and I'm also into um, we call nutrition, not just
You
nutrition,
see,
but also fitness.
he's reinforcing his statements with some practical movements in the background. Yes, Dr.
Yeah.
Q.
Yeah, yeah.
Dr.
You're
Q
looking
would
for
have said, just left the gym.
yeah, he's looking
Yes,
for
sir.
he's looking for a blowhole, but anyway, I'm into fitness also, and quite rightly to what Dr. Q said, we are we humans, we're designed to move. Sitting for too long period of time is harmful to our health, and we need to make sure we get the large muscle groups in play most of the time. So instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs instead. Instead of going to the corner to pick up a snack, instead of driving to go in there, you might as well walk and put in some put in some good some good muscular work. So it's important to engage the large muscles in your body, which are known to sop up a lot of excess glucose in the blood. So Dr. Two was definitely right. But I won't forgive him too quickly for the tracksuit saga. But anyway, have a good night, my brother.
Dr. Q is not giving up, right? He ain't giving up. Ah, all right, I want to hear a little bit from my brother, Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank, are you here? Yes, Dr. Frank. We're about to wrap up, so can we get your closing remarks and our conversation to this evening? I'm going to come to Brother Minister Warner shortly.
I just want to say that leaders, especially catholic leaders, are not defined by the titles, but by transformation. And so they lead with clarity, they lead with courage, they lead with passion. And this leaves people and systems better than they found them.
All right, thanks for that share, Frank. I will now call on Roland, sorry, not Roland, Minister Warner, for your closing remarks.
Yes, thank you very much, Gary. I want to encourage you guys. Innovation is easy. Innovation is the ability to conform or to transform something that exists to something that can bring value, even greater value, through the use of technology. But I want you to really think about the ethics of the technology that you're connected to. There's a lot of misuse. There's some things around. People are going to have all kind of shiny promises, and they're going to be sending you a lot of things, but you have to be cautious. All right? Be cautious in this time. What is very powerful can also be very dangerous. All right. So take wisdom. And if you're in doubt, we would say seek the professional. Let us know. We'll be able to help you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for that share, man. When you see certain things coming into your phone or your email and you don't know who's coming from, sometimes you just have to refuse to open it because they're sending viruses and bugs and all these things to, disrupt whatever you're doing. However, I want to thank the panelists for being here this evening. And I want to say to the public, I know that we have broadcast across 3 platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And tonight we had over 200 persons tuning into the program. I want to say that moving forward, we're only going to get better and better as we go deeper into the storylines. On this platform, I want to emphasize you will learn about business, you will learn about wealth, you will learn about leadership, and of course, you will learn about health. This platform is not only to communicate the information, but we have communities that we are currently building to really help people to get the practical understanding of how to start and scale your business, practical understanding as to how to position yourself to build wealth. All right, practical understanding as to how to apply leadership, and also a practical understanding as to how to adopt and live a healthy lifestyle. So keep watching and reach out to us, and I'll be happy to put you in contact with our community leaders. Again, if you're in business and you need access to capital and you're living in the US, I want to encourage you to feel free to reach out to me. In all 50 states, we're able to help you to access capital to grow and scale your business. All right, so feel free to reach out to me. With that being said, we will do this again next week, Saturday. So keep following social media. We will update you on all future development in relation to uh, this platform. So with that being said, I want to welcome my team again for being here. I want to thank you for taking the time out to be with us today. And any last we're wrapping up now. I know that we always end with a joke, so I don't know who wants to lead the joke. If it's going to be brother Roland or Frank or Dr. Quasi or Minister Warner. I see, I see Roland. He's pulling his invisible beard. I know he's trying to come up with something. All right, guys. It has been a pleasure, and we'll do this again next week Friday, next week Saturday.